Hello, Johnny Hunt here on the Chord Melody Uke channel, and some of you that are particularly sharp will notice immediately that this is not an ukulele. This is a mandolin, and this is a learning channel. So what I'm doing today is making a video of a workshop that I'm fixing to teach here later this week at the Everett Festival in July of 2014. And I play different instruments, and I like to have a video to refer people that come to the workshop to, because in a 45-minute workshop it's hard to absorb everything, and you try to put as much material as in there as people can stand to listen to. But it's nice to have a reference and just something to go back to fill in the gap. So that's why I'm making this video, and I don't have a chord melody mandolin channel, so I'm just going to put it on here and ask for the forgiveness of those ukulele players that follow this channel, and just pass this one by if you're not interested. So anyway, the title of the workshop that I'm teaching is called Chops and Double Stops, 2 different techniques to enhance your mandolin playing. And they're somewhat related. The idea behind doing the chops is, especially in bluegrass music, a lot of times mandolins are playing more of a rhythm. Of course, you lead out and take your break as it comes to you, and that's more what the double stops is about, is so enhance your lead playing a little bit more, make it more interesting. So this is good both for the rhythm player and the lead player. So 2 different workshops in one, pretty much. Now I think when we start playing the mandolin, we all learn the 2-finger chords. Like here's your D chord and your G chord. But those are what we call open chords, because they have strings that are open that you can't mute. And the idea of playing rhythm is you're keeping time more than contributing musically. It's more of a percussion thing than a tonal issue for playing rhythm, at least I'm thinking in terms of bluegrass again. So it's nice to know these 4-finger chords, so in the chopped chords, and the difference is that you can play them you can play them as regular chords where all the strings ring out. But you can also play this kind of a thing where you're just subtly releasing the pressure, and you don't even move your fingers. It's just stroke, strum down, and release a pressure, just a fraction of a millimeter, enough to get the strings off the frets so they're not vibrating as much. And it's just that keeping the beat sort of a thing. And so we're going to learn how to do that now. You can see I've already got my G chord, and so that's a good place to start. Now when you're playing 2-finger chords, I count my strings 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, which may not be conventional, but for the next few minutes here, that's how we're going to do things. So you make your G chord, your pointer is at the 2nd fret of the 1st, 2nd, 3rd string, and your middle finger is at the 3rd fret of the 4th string. So you're already halfway home, and then what you're going to do with your ring finger is bring it down to the 5th fret of the 2nd string. So there's a 3-finger chord, but even though I'm not hitting the G string, I'm still getting a little bit of sympathetic vibration. And so our G string we're going to fret at the 7th fret. So what we have is 7, 5, 2, 3, and that's your 4-finger G shape. And like I say, well, by just releasing that pressure subtly without moving your fingers, because then you don't have to re-find it every time you play the chord. It's just enough to get the strings off the fret. So work on that. That's the first chord you're probably going to want to learn for the 4-finger chop chords. And then we can use our pinky as an anchor that we have here on the 7th fret of the 1st string, and then we can flop right over to our D chord, which is just shuffling the deck here. We're going from 5, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2. And there's our D chord. So what do we have? We have, we'll build it inside out again. we have fourth string, 2nd fret, 2nd string, 4th fret with the middle finger, ring finger, 5th fret, 2nd string, and pinky back home where it was on the G chord at the 7th fret of the 1st string. And then, so when you do some different strum patterns, you can let it ring, and do some things to suspend the chord, or throw a 6th in there. That we're not really covering that today, but just anything you can do to make the chords more interesting. First of all, for yourself, but secondly, things you do that add a little variety and spice to the song. Just add a little more depth. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So there's your D shape. And then the 3rd chord, if you're playing in the key of G, you'd be looking to do a C chord, which actually too, these are all movable chords. You can take your G chord and move it up 5 frets, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. And there's a C chord. D. You might want to play songs other than Louie Louie, so that's why you need these other 2 chords. The D shape, this I call the C shape, and it does have an open string, so you overcome that by just trying to play the 3 strings. I kind of got a mute here, so what I'm doing is barring across the 2nd fret with my pointer, and then the top strings are at the 3rd fret with my middle finger. So it's 2, 2, 3, 3 with a muffled G string. That's a C. And you can do the same thing, D chord, the same shape. But of course, anytime you're making a bar chord, guess what? You have to reserve your index finger for that purpose of making the bar. So what we would have for a D is a C without our middle finger, and moving up 2 to C sharp D, and then actually we're only using only barring the 1st string. You can slap it flat and bar all these ones, which is fine, or you just come down more from the top and just get the 1st string. But of course, if you're going to make a D this way, this works too. So there's 2 different ways to chop a D chord. So you'll ask me, which one should I learn, and what's the answer going to be? Learn both of them, and say it adds a little variety to what you're doing. So those are the 3 shapes for the major chords, and those I pretty much do my chops on the major chords. And maybe like a 2-finger chord if I'm playing a minor chord. But let me show you those minor shapes, because they're good to know too. The first one would be what I call a B minor shape. So this would actually has to be an A minor, because there's an A chord. There's another shape I didn't show. So I'm backtracking a little bit, so go back to one more major shape. This is an A chord, so it's barring at the 2nd fret, so it's 2, 2, and then the middle finger at the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and the ring finger on the 5th fret of the 4th string. So we've got G, D, A, E open. We'd have A, E, C sharp, A chord. So how do you make a A major chord into an A minor chord? You flat the 3rd, which in this case would be the C sharp. So there's your A minor shape. So that would be 2, 2, 3, 5. And if you were a classical guitar player, you'd probably want to do it this way instead of your ring finger here, because it's a little bit of an unnatural stretch to get that separation between your third and fourth fingers. A little bit easier this way. So again, 2, 2, 3, 5. That's the A minor shape. And then this is the E minor shape, which would be 4, 2, 2, 3. So again, full bar at the fourth if you use the flat of your finger, or if you want to use just the fingertip, you can just make sure that you got these two middle strings with, say, the finger versus the, this is the, for those of you who are anatomically interested, this is the distal interphalangeal joint, and this is the proximal interphalangeal joint. So on a true bar chord, you're using the whole finger here. And if you're going to do it this way to just get the middle two strings, that's good too. So try them both, see what works the best. And that's your E minor chord. So again, this would be a B, E, a B, an E, another B, and a G. B, E, B, G, so E minor. E, G, which is the E major, would be G sharp. So that's your E minor shape. So there's 5, or actually 6, 4 major forms and 2 minor forms. And that's plenty to work on. If you get where you can make those chords and get them tight and change them, you've arrived as a rhythm player on the mandolin. And I say, since they're all bar chords, they're movable. So you can either play with a capo if you get with somebody that wants to sing in a flat key, or one of the other problems playing in flat keys is you lose all your position dots. You know, it's nice to be able to look down, see 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th, 10th, 12th. So, you know, 2 different ways to approach that sort of an issue. So work on those 5 chords, and say that pretty much covers what I wanted to talk about on the rhythm end of things. And now we're going to talk about double stops. And all double stops are playing 2 strings at the same time. It's playing the melody, and usually a note behind the melody to fill it out, the sound a little bit more, and keep things interesting. So we're going to show you double stops in the key of G, and let's go through a scale, and then we'll learn Ode to Joy. That's a good song to practice your double stops on. Because all I really know, I know my scales, and I know a little bit of theory, so I know kind of what I'm looking for. Other than that, I don't really have any formal musical training, but you know, if you just know what you're looking for, you can learn by rote, and rote's always going to be a part of any way you learn anything. Like, you know, think back to grade school, and you're learning your multiplication tables or your alphabet or your colors, and you just have to assign a name to every concept that you're learning. So double stop. So let's again, we do the key of G. So here's our G chord with a G note on top. So we're just playing the top 2 strings. So we have a B and a G. I'm going to go down the scale. Again, top 2 strings. This is a open A and a F sharp. And this is an E with a C, which would be a C chord. So this is a fragment of a G chord. Again, B and G. A and F sharp is a fragment of a D chord. Or you can make a triple stop. This is a E, open E, and a C. Middle finger, 3rd fret. Or you can do your old, you know, your 2-finger C chord works, and then you can strum. All the stuff you put behind the melody is fine. You can do pretty much as many strings as you want. So, or you can even play the whole chord. Because we're playing the scale now. So that's the E note, and we'll go down to a D note. Which would be 5th, 5th. So now we're down to the E string, or the A string, from the E string. I'm using 1 finger to fret both strings. These are the 2 middle strings at the 5th fret. So it's A and D are the notes. Actually, I'm sorry, it's G and D, because this is the D string. D, E, F sharp, G, A string, A, B, C, D. So that's a D chord. Excuse me. And then our next note coming down, G, F sharp, E, D, C. We're going to back that with, so it's the second fret of the second string, third fret of the third string. So we got an E and a C. Again, open G works in there too. It's a C chord. Next note coming down is B. So we got an open D and a B. And then next note coming down is the A. So we're just going to leave the D string open again. So you got two open strings. You can scratch your hair, you know, whatever you need to do with your left hand. And then we're going to end at the bottom of the scales here on the G note. And we're going to put a B behind it. So it's 4th fret, 5th fret. So again, we'll just go through the whole scale, the G scale. Second and third, excuse me, open and second frets. Third fret and open top string. And then we go to the middle two strings. 5th fret. We can do it this way and just pluck the two middle strings. C note, so we got the second fret of the second string, third fret of the third string. Open and second fret, B note, D, B, D and A, and then back home to our low G. Okay, then we can, you know, we got 2 octaves of a G right in the first position here, so let's continue on down. Second and fourth strings. Now we're on the 2 lower strings. We're not going to have double stops when we get down here because we don't have a 5th string behind it. So 4 and 5, 2 and 4, open and second, open and open, 5th, 4th, second, open. So back up the scale from the low G. 4th and 5th on first string, second string. 2 middle strings open. Open second string, second fret, third string. Second and third. 2 middle strings. 5 and 5, 5th fret. I go to the top string and the third string. Third and open. Yeah, I'm fretting here because I'm hitting that string accidentally. I don't want this. So if I do misfire, I got a note that's still in that C chord. So that's the E, and the F sharp is open and second fret, A and F sharp, and then B and G. And then we'll just continue up to A note. So this would be like a D 7th because I've got an A and a C natural. D and B. So going up now. Second and third. Third and 5th. 5th and 7th. 7th and 8th. 10th and 10th. 10th and 12th. 12th and 14th. 14th and 15th. And you get kind of plunky and goofy here, so you're probably not going to be going up past, you know, you don't want to go outside of your yard because mom will catch you and then you'll be grounded and you won't get to go play with your friends. So that's a C G scale. and 3 octaves worth actually, because you can't do double stops down here. So like I said, let's do a song now. We'll do Ode to Joy, all in double stops in the key of G. And okay, well, what about other keys? Work on this G scale first, and you'll find that the intervals will be the same whatever key you're playing in. So like a C scale. But say, let that go until you feel comfortable with just knowing the one scale and where both the notes are. So. So, Ode to Joy. Okay, so the first note is this B. Forgive me being slightly out of tune. So, you don't have to play every note as a double stop, okay? It's just kind of like on the downbeats, and you'll get a feel for when you can throw that behind the melody note in. So, second, or on the third string, second, third, fifth, and then a D chord. So in the middle 2 strings, 4th and 5th, 2nd and 3rd frets, 2nd and 3rd, 2nd fret, open, again, open and 2nd, 2 open strings in the middle, and then back to a G note, so 4th fret, 5th fret, double open in the middle, 2nd fret, and then open, open, A and D. And then that same phrase again. So middle 2 strings, open and 2nd. 4th and 5th in the middle. Fourth and 5th on the 1st and 2nd strings. Middle strings, 4th and 5th, and where that's our G note, and then the 3rd line. So 2 open strings in the middle, which is a D chord, and then we're going to change it into a G chord because we got a D and an A going to a D and a B, both notes in the G chord, and a single note. Or you can do the double. And then back to a D chord, 2 middle strings open. 2nd, 3rd fret of the 3rd string. 2nd fret. Back to a D chord. Okay, so now, so I got 2nd fret and open, bottom 2 strings, 1st and 2nd string, 2, 0, and then back to that first line, which is the 4th line now to take us out. 2 middle strings, 0, 2, 3rd, 5th, 4th and 5th, 5th, 3rd, 2nd, open 2nd, open, open, and 1st and 2nd strings, back to the 2 middle strings, double open, so that's a lot of material. And like I said, that's why I want to make this video, because you can go back and forth, and if there's 30 people there, you don't feel silly about asking a question, and you know, there's no dumb questions. I never thought that. There's some dumb answers. So you know, this you can do in the privacy of your own home without all your peers sitting around you wondering what you're doing. So and I hope you find this a useful lesson, and that it makes your mandolin playing a little more interesting. First of all, to yourself, that's the most important, and secondly, to those that might want to listen. So again, Johnny Hunt, thanks for watching. If you're a uke player, there's a lot of different songs on here you can learn to play chord melody style, and welcome you to do that. Or if you're not, that's great. If you have mandolin playing friends, you might want to refer them to this particular lesson, and I trust you'll find it helpful. And for any reason, if you have a question or a problem, something you need a little extra help with, please send me an email. It's chordmelodyuke@yahoo.com, and I also have a chordmelodyuke@gmail.com. So it's your choice. And you know, feel free to ask your questions, and I check the channel email pretty frequently. So I'll try to get right back to you with a cogent answer. So Johnny Hunt signing off, and look forward to helping you improve your playing. Thanks.